Welcome to Crush House Cappers. I'm your host, Wayne Allyn Root, the CEO of VegasWinners.com and the man the media calls the king of Vegas sports gambling and America's odds maker. I'm the only sports handicapper in the world with a 180-pound granite star on the Las Vegas Walk of Stars. How cool is that? Now I'm bringing my Vegas wise guy connections and Vegas insider knowledge to you. This is the show for every type of sports gambler, male, female, high roller, beginner, $10 better, $10,000 better. We're here to empower you. Anyone that loves the most important part of betting, winning. At Crush House Cappers and our sponsor website, VegasWinners.com. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. I want to remind you to go to VegasWinners.com right after this podcast ends for one of my world famous games of the year. Just register. It's simple. It's easy. It takes 1 minute, and you automatically receive $1,000 in free coupons, which you can apply to my game of the year. And you also get 5,000 reward points, which can be converted into gifts and prizes with our state-of-the-art cryptocurrency reward system, all at VegasWinners.com. Each week here on Crush House Cappers, I bring you the leading experts in sports handicapping. All of them part of my Vegas Winners Handicapping Elite team of 21 sports handicapping champions. Joining me today with their point spread wisdom and insights are Chip Chirimbes, a Las Vegas handicapping legend with a stellar reputation for picking winners for over 30 years. Ross Benjamin, who made his reputation in the sports betting industry by being one of the sharpest prognosticators since 2003. And Sean Higgs, whose secret is knowing how to beat the sports books with stats, trends, and angles since the 1990s. We got Sean, we got Chip, we got Ross in Rochester, New York, Ross. Rochester, I thought you were a Vegas guy. I never knew you were a Rochester, New York guy.
I'm a proud Western New Yorker, Wayne.
All right.
Born and
listen,
raised.
You're proud and you're happy right now because it's September and the leaves are changing and it's beautiful. How are you going to feel right around December and January and February in Rochester, New York? It is freaking cold.
Hey, we have tough skin up here, so used to it, Wayne.
Obviously. You gotta. All right, cool. You know I'm an ex-New Yorker, but I'm way downstate. New York City boy. All right, let's start with Ross, because I want to know what Rochester thinks. We've got Notre Dame playing Wisconsin. Whiskey is a 6.5 point favorite over the Fighting Irish. Thoughts on that game against the point spread? Ross Benjamin.
Yeah, I mean, this line jumped right out at me. It's at a neutral site in Chicago, but, you're looking at the lower-ranked team being Wisconsin at number 18 as a 6 or 6.5 point favorite, depending on where you look, over Notre Dame, who's currently undefeated and number 12 in the country. It's never that easy, folks. And I can tell you one thing. I always trust the odds makers over the pollsters. They are unbiased and they're unemotional when they set a line, and that's not always the case with the pollsters. Think about this for a second. If this game was being played at Notre Dame, Wisconsin would still be somewhere around a 3-point favorite. The books just aren't that generous, Wayne. And Wisconsin right now, real good defense, only loss on the season against number 5 Penn State, a team that we now know is a lot better than we originally thought to begin with. And this is an excellent defensive team. Notre Dame's schedule has left a lot to be desired early on. Barely got by 0-3 Florida State in overtime. Barely got by Toledo, who lost to Colorado State last week. And, they beat a Purdue team last week, 27-14. That it's nothing better than a 500 team in my estimation. I'm going to lay the number here. I'm going to lay the 6 with Wisconsin over Notre Dame.
You sound like you're becoming a contrarian like me, Ross. When I see a number, that looks stupid, I go, I don't want to take the points of that stupid number. I want to give them because they're begging you to take them. The odds makers are begging you to take Notre Dame in this game, it would seem to me. Let's see what Chip Chirimbes thinks, because Chip is a big contrarian handicapper like me. Are the odds makers begging you to take Notre Dame? And what are you going to do?
Without question, Wayne. The storyline here should be Jack Cohn returning against his alma mater, not actually in Wisconsin, playing at Soldier Field. He has 10 TDs this year for Notre Dame. Graham Mertz, who took his replace as a Badger quarterback, only has 2 TDs on the year. And like you said, this line is just so way out of whack. How could Wisconsin be 6.5 point favorite over Notre Dame, an undefeated Notre Dame team? But I'll tell you, one of the reasons may be is that Wisconsin has the number 2 defense in the country. They're only allowing 192 yards a game. And like Ross said, the Irish were lucky to get by Toledo with a last-minute drive. Florida State, they had to go overtime. And in Purdue, they had a 1-touchdown lead going into the final minutes. Notre Dame, 80th in total defense, allowing 381 yards a game. I, like Ross, and probably like you, Wayne, I'm going to lay this right here. This game is on a neutral site, and I think the odds makers are telling you that this Wisconsin defense is going to dominate this game. I'm going to play the Badgers over the Fighting Irish.
All right, now we find out if it's unanimous, because every time I've ever done a football handicapping show for 35 years, when every guy is certain and it's unanimous, none of us ever win. So, Sean, are you the kiss of death, or are you going the other way? Where you stand on this game?
I'm agreeing with everybody here. And just for whatever reason everybody said. This line came out, I'm like, immediately.
Back the truck up and bet on Notre Dame.
This
when
line
smart guys all agree, it's no good, I'm telling you.
What?
Sean, go ahead, shoot.
Yeah, I mean, but like, seriously, you look at a 6.5. Are you telling me they're 10 points basically better at home and 3 or 4 points better on the road? What? That is, and it's Notre Dame. It's a public team. People are going to run to the window to bet on Notre Dame. On a neutral field, it's not like Notre Dame's not going to travel to Soldier Field for this game. They're going to outnumber the Whiskey fans. But, you know, Russ had mentioned it. Better trench play, definitely for Wisconsin on both sides of the ball. Notre Dame's been playing with fire. They should have lost to Florida State. Could have lost to Toledo. Last week, listen, I had them. Miracle cover there. They're trudging along. Is this the game they're going to break out? I don't think so. I'm going to lay it. Fishy number. Again, maybe we are the kiss of death, all three of us. I don't know.
All four of us, because first thing I saw earlier in the week, I looked at that game and I said, what? That I gotta lay it with Wisconsin. So listen, even though I laugh and I say every time we all agree it's always wrong, in my history it's usually true that when all of us agree. But I'm still gonna bet Wisconsin. I'm just gonna make a smaller bet now because I'm nervous that we all agree. I don't like it when we all agree. I'm just being honest. So all right, so we've got Wisconsin, and Wisconsin. It sounds like a law firm to me. And coming up in the NFL game, we got the Chargers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Chargers are 6.5, 7, and the total is 54. Now, let me open by giving you a little interesting tidbit, because I didn't even know this till my crack research team put it in my lap. Everybody thinks that the Kansas City Chiefs are the greatest team ever, including me. They're unbeatable, and they are against not the spread, but the actual score at the end of the game. But against the spread, in their last 14 games, the Chiefs are 1-13 against the spread. I had no idea. You know, it's one of those things where when you don't stare at it every week, you don't realize they keep losing the money while they're winning the game. They're burning people's money. Chip, did you realize they were 1-13 against the spread the last 14 games? The Kansas City Chiefs?
Of course, you know, Wayne, we've done a little research on this. And by the way, I don't have any problems taking Wisconsin. We have 4 brilliant handicappers here, all alignment, and I'm going to have confidence in every one of them. But by the way, this Kansas City team it was last in the NFL in total defense, last in the NFL in rushing defense, and that we know is because of what the Ravens did last Sunday night against them. But I think this is a high number. I think it's very inviting to take the Chargers here. And the Chargers have had such great success against the points, going 7-3-1 on the road and 7-3 at Kansas City. 4-1-1 at Kansas City the last 6 times they've been there, as a matter of fact. But for some reason, I think the Chiefs are going to bounce back here. I don't think it's so difficult to take Herbert and San Diego and LA here. I just think that the number's high, and after what we saw the Chiefs do fall apart against the Ravens, I think there's going to be enough LA money out there to balance it out, and I'm going to take a chance with the Chiefs here. I'm going to lay it. I think Kansas City is coming to play. This is a division game, and I think they'll be ready.
Well, if you're a contrarian and you just heard me say they're 1-13 against the spread the last 14, what are you going to do? Lay it. Sean, where you going on this game?
I'm following Chipper here. You know, as you mentioned, I thought I saw like 1-11-1 against the spread for Kansas City. But what better time to take them here? Like, they were in control of that game. Then Andy Reid takes his wheels off the gas, right? No, they're not playing, fumble. That should have been a win. Last 2 games, though, with Chargers, new head coach, same results, 20-17, 20-16. Listen, Herbert's good, but last time Kansas City saw him, it was his first game. Taylor had the shot in the heart or whatever, as long he couldn't play. So they didn't know much about him. Week 17, who's really playing? Now you got a year of book of defense on this guy. The defense coordinator off a meltdown. Kansas City all day here. Best bet. Take Kansas City to the house. Back up the truck on this one.
I will say one thing in defense of Herbert. Because he was playing my Dallas Cowboys last week, and I watched that game, and he made either 3 or 4 throws that might have been Hall of Fame throws. Some of the best throws I've ever seen. 2 of them were taken off the board for penalties. He threw 2 perfect, boom, right in the lap, laser touchdowns. This guy is good. I don't care if they've had a year to look at him. He is really good. Now, Kansas City may cover this game, and they may win going away. But I'm just telling you, Herbert is a great quarterback. Don't ever take him lightly. Ross Benjamin, your thoughts. Kansas City. Oh, and you like the total, if I remember correctly. Kansas City, 54 points is the total between KC and the LA Chargers. I almost said San Diego again. I will always think of them as the San Diego Chargers. I'm sorry. LA Chargers, 54, up or down?
I'm going up. And that's unusual for me, Wayne. Usually when I get a total of 50 or greater in the NFL, if I'm looking at playing the total, I'm looking for every reason to use the under. But this is an exception to the rule. You're looking at a Kansas City team that's just been brutal. I mean, terrible defensively in the first 2 games. Versus Cleveland and Baltimore, they gave up let's say 450 yards a game or so, 440 yards a game, over 200 yards a game on the ground. And they're going to be facing a Chargers team that can move the ball. There's no 2 ways about it. They only scored 17 against Dallas last week. But like you watched the game, I think even Wayne will admit that Dallas was lucky they held them to 17 because the Chargers just beat themselves offensively with penalties. An interception on 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. So this is a Charger team I see scoring in the high 20s, low 30s in this game. There's nothing wrong with Kansas City's offense. Unlike their defense, they're going to put up points. And how about the Chargers? 6-0 to the over in their last 6 division away games. And then also Kansas City 6-0 to the over as a home favorite of 7 or less, which means they're playing a pretty good team on the other side because normally they're a little bit higher than that 7-point spread at home. I'm going to go over the total, Wayne. Boy, oh boy, as Bill Rafferty would say, onions.
You don't think I'm going to now reply to you by defending the honor of my Dallas Cowboys? You don't think so, huh? Listen, they got lucky, but by the same token, I would say Dan Quinn gets the award for the most improved defensive turnaround of the year, 2021. Cowboys were the worst defense in the history of the earth last year, and this year they're right in the middle of the pack. They're not bad, they're not great, they're in the middle, and they're trending towards good. So it's just a great turnaround. It shows you the difference a good coach can make. So they're not a bad defensive team, and they're a great offensive team. I still have very high hopes. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll go beyond the first round. I don't know about Super Bowl, but I think they're 1 year away from Super Bowl contender. So not bad. But yes, they got a little lucky in that game. No question about it.
Talking like a real homer.
Really?
That's okay. That's okay. So,
Love my Cowboys.
Hey, you know what? You know what, Wayne? They only need to be middle of the road defensively because
Right. Correct.
that offensive arsenal is right up there in the top 2-3 in the league.
Right. Last year, Dak was scoring 40 points a game, and they were giving up 50. So you don't win games. But if they could just keep it to 20, they'll win most games. So we'll see what happens. They're a year away from Super Bowl, I would say, but they look pretty good. Much improved. Much improved. All right. I think that's it for this week, other than the fact I want each of you to talk about what you've got as far as a big play at VegasWinners.com. Let's start with Sean.
Yeah, well, for both for college and NFL, I have my top 10-star money bombs up, and 6-2 of my top plays so far out of the season in both college and pro football. So I'm excited about the football and baseball. I'm on 18-8 run, so I'm excited about baseball too. People forget about baseball. We can still make money in baseball, people.
All right, Ross Benjamin, what you got at Vegas Winners this weekend?
Hey, 3-0 with my college football 10-star top plays, which are my best bets. You get one of those a week. First 3 weeks, all winners. No different this week, as I'll have a 10-star top play in the West Virginia-Oklahoma game. Sunday in the NFL, Miami Dolphins game, I have a 10-star top play on that game.
All right, Ross Benjamin, let's hear what Chip Chirimbes has in store.
Well, Wayne, we've been perfect with our best bets in the NFL, 4-0. We hit our game of the month on Saturday, last Saturday with Florida, and I have another game of the month already posted for Saturday. Big Ten winner. Log on, follow the buy links, and collect. We have a plethora of winners out there for Saturday, and Sunday we're hitting our best bets at a record pace.
All right, the word of the day, plethora. I like it. We're getting some good vocabulary upgrades here from Chip Chirimbes. As far as Wayne Allyn Root, me, not a bad week. I had my big play, my big pinnacle, my top play on Saturday, winner with Alabama against Florida. I took the 14, won it. Sunday, I checked in on the score and saw 21-3 against me. I wasn't too confident at that moment, but a great win with that game. Sunday, I had a game of the year. It was a winner with the Colts in the cover against the Rams. 3 straight pinnacle winners, and I've started the season in the NFL 12-4, just about 75% winners. Last year, I ended the year on a run, 10 winning NFL weeks out of the last 11 weeks. Now I'm 2-0 with the first 2 weeks, so I've actually won 12 of the last 13 NFL weeks, 21-8, 72% NFL streak before Thursday night last night, and I had the under last night and won it easily. So really on a great streak. I didn't update the winning percentage, but I must be about 73, 74%. And we're talking going back to last year, several weeks, and the first 2 weeks this year. So great NFL streak. Another game of the year in the NFL this week from Wayne Allyn Root. All of these big games you can find from Chip, from Sean, from Ross, and from good old War at VegasWinners.com, where you get $1,000 in free coupons that you can apply to these games. So check it out and head there now. VegasWinners.com. Thanks, guys. All right, this is my favorite segment of the week. I get to hang out with Sean Salisbury, talk a little NFL football. I've loved football since I was 5 years old. I was the world's biggest Dallas Cowboy fan. I loved Rodgers, Staubach, and Craig Morton, and Dandy Don Meredith, and later on Troy Aikman and Tony Romo. I love the quarterbacks. I love the Cowboys. But I'm with a great quarterback, Sean Salisbury. Good to be with you again, brother.
Wayne, great to be with you, man. I love this week. I love this Friday. I always love joining you, man. Thank you.
All right, so you and I together like brother from another mother every Friday. So, listen, we're going to talk about the Rams game. Rams taking on Tampa Bay and big bad Tom Brady, Super Bowl champions, already off to a 2-0 start. In my next podcast, we've got a Legends podcast. I'll be interviewing Jim Everett, one of the great quarterbacks for the LA Rams. So we kind of celebrated with a little Rams talk here. So tell me what the Rams have to do to beat Tom Brady and the Super Bowl champions.
Well, first off, when you have Jim on, you're going to get one of the great throwers and great dudes on the planet. I'm so excited for you to get a chance to be with him today, and I love it. Jimmy and I are about the same age and came out the same time, and he had about a 50 times better career than I did, but it'll be a treat for you to talk to him. This game this weekend, this is playoff Super Bowl atmosphere, Wayne. You know this, and I know how important it is, the Rams for you. You love this team, and I had Tampa going to the Super Bowl, so something's got to give this week. I think the biggest key in this game for me is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defend the run so well. And they were the best in the league last year. Can they make the Rams one-dimensional? And if they do, then you put it on Stafford. You hope you get a little pressure, a tip ball interception. This is a phenomenal quarterback matchup. And another thing, Brady, if there is anything that Brady hasn't done better than anybody else in the world, is teams that rush 4, pressure a guy with 3 or 4 players without blitzing. And the Rams are really good at it. He's had most of his trouble against teams that play a lot of zone, and they won't blitz a lot if they can get pressure. So on the defensive side, putting Brady on his rear end and his ass will be number 1. Number 2 is making sure you take those receivers off their mark, but you have got to run the football, at least the threat of it a little bit, so you don't make yourself one-dimensional. Tampa's going to focus on that. If you make it one-dimensional, it falls on Stafford's shoulders. This is going to be a great friggin' football game.
Oh, great game. And it's shocking to me. I never thought I'd see a Super Bowl champion that returns 22 starters. It's stunning. I don't know how. First of all, I can't figure out how did they afford it. When I look at the Dallas Cowboys, I always base everything on my team. No one knows the Cowboys better than me, right? I study them all day, every day. You can't keep everyone from your team last year when you pay the best guys with a new contract. You reward them with a new contract this year. So they gave Dak this giant contract. What was it, $160 million, whatever the number was. You can't keep everybody, so they let guys go. How did Tampa Bay keep everybody? How is that possible? I don't get it.
Well, first off, the window's short because you keep these guys, eventually it's going to break up. A brilliant capologist, the quarterback who doesn't have to be the highest paid guy in the world, and that's Brady. He's always allowed you to not have to pay him the most to free up money to go get Antonio Brown, to go grab Rob Gronkowski again and bring him back. This team now eventually, like I said, eventually it catches up to you. But, man, they got one last year, and they got this all 22. I can guarantee you all 22 aren't going to be back next year. That's why you capitalize on the window, and they have, because everybody eventually wants to get paid. But the whole key here is Tom Brady doesn't have to make $50 million a year. He's never asked to be the highest paid player, not only in the league. He should be making $100 million a year for the value he brings. But that's why Brady understands the difference. Winning championships to him, the money will come. He doesn't need to be the highest paid player. His ego and pride are aside where other guys want to get theirs, and I understand it, but they're wearing far less rings than Brady is, and it'll be the same this year. They're the favorite. They're the best team in football.
It's a great point, and it obviously works. I mean, he's got 7 Super Bowl rings. He's made, 10 appearances in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Nobody else has been anything close. So he realized you don't have to be the highest paid player. You just want to win the most jewelry,
right.
and therefore you make up all that money in endorsement deals, right? That's got to be his theory,
He's
right?
doing a lot of them right now, too. More commercials than we've ever thought Tom would do. He never did many early. His focus. Now he's got a big old smile on his face. Other than Shaq, Brady might be doing more commercials than anybody right now. It's good to see, and he looks like he's having a damn blast playing, too.
And he still looks great, man. That's a handsome, cool-looking dude at 44 years old? I think 44.
44.
Can he play to 50? That's the last question I want to ask you about quarterbacks. Is that even remotely possible, even with Brady?
Well, I'm not going to ever say he can't do anything. I think he'd be out of his friggin' mind if he tried to. But with him, I actually think he'll play this year if he wins. Maybe give it one more, get to 45, play his 45th season, and then eventually say, I'm going to go watch my kids play and have a good time. But I don't know, man. This guy likes to win, and if he's having fun, they'd have to drag me off the field if I was that good. But 8 Super Bowl rings, if he can win another one, it may be time. But don't put anything by him because he still takes care of his body. And the guy you'll talk to later on, Jim Everett, when your legs are there, you can still play the game. And Tom's legs are still there. When you lose the legs, you go. I guarantee you he'll get out of the league before we start to see a downfall. He won't let that happen to him.
I see 2 more seasons. A great guy can always,
Agreed.
the great ones can always find a way to motivate themselves. And so if he loses this year and they have a bad, underperforming year, he's got to come back to erase that, right, and go out in a winning image. And if he has a great year and they win the Super Bowl, he has to come back because he could be a three-peat. I'm trying to think. Nobody's ever three-peated in the NFL, right? Never, right?
Not
Nobody.
in a row. I don't think anybody's done it in a row. I think there's been plenty that, like Pittsburgh, I think, has been to 2 or 3 in a row. We obviously saw Buffalo get to 4 in a row and not win it. So that would be pretty impressive to get to 3 and win them all. It'd be like NBA. I mean, you're now become the Lakers and Celtics type team.
Exactly.
It's unbelievable what he's doing.
Little bit of trivia. In the 1990s, the Lakers won 2 in a row. And I filed with the trademark office, Wayne Root, filed for three-peat, that it was my name. And guess who filed at the same time as me? Pat Riley. And they gave it to Pat Riley. We filed at the same time, and they gave it to Pat Riley. They took it away from me. Pissed me off. All right. Let's talk about quarterbacks, because that's the topic of the day. We got you. We got Jim Everett coming up on deck. You get to pick one quarterback for your team. If you were the general manager or the coach, Sean Salisbury is the leader of the team. Who's the one quarterback other than Mahomes? Everyone's going to pick Mahomes. Other than Mahomes, who would you pick for the next 10 years to win?
Brady? No, I'm kidding. No, he's 54. This is a tough one because I can't wait to hear what Jim Everett says about this later on, because we are so deep at the starting quarterback position with young. You think about Lamar and Kyler Murray, and there's Russ Wilson. He's not got 10 years in him. Dak Prescott, Baker Mayfield. We see these young guys like Mac Jones. I mean, we are friggin' loaded at this damn position. For me, just judging from what I see now, you take age into it. I don't know what's going to happen to Deshaun Watson because he's one hell of a football player. But that one we'll put aside because he's not playing this year. You know what? For my money, and I think Kyler Murray is going to be an MVP guy, but I'm going to go with Josh Allen. I think his body can handle the punishment. I think he's well coached, and now they're starting to build something around him. He started off a little slow this year, but what's not to like? He's improved every year. He's got confidence. He's got a big, strong arm, but accurate, far more accurate than people thought when he was coming out of school. For the next decade, till their mid-30s, I'd probably say it was him since I don't get Mahomes. But I'll tell you what, there's 3 or 4 guys that if you gave me the option, you took him away, I'd say I can live with that because we got a group of studs. But I'd probably go with Josh Allen now because of the body type, and he can move and sit in the pocket, and he's well coached, and I love his offensive coordinator. Josh Allen today would be my choice.
Yeah, and he's a great choice, but you named the 2 who I think I would pick. I mean, I love Dak, but I think I'd pick either Kyler Murray or I'd take Baker Mayfield. I think Baker, this early in his career, has proven that over the next 10 years, he's going to be a superstar. And I think Cleveland has a great shot at the Super Bowl this year with Baker Mayfield. I love his energy. I love the fist pumps and the bravado and the braggadocio and all that other stuff that comes along with his kind of confidence / arrogance. I think Baker's going to make a great quarterback in the NFL.
He's got balls that hang down to about his ankles, like the balls of a burglar, man. This dude, he loves to play, too. And they're loaded on the roster, so we'll see. Can he take the punishment and keep going? I mean, can Cleveland keep this, the roster and the building and Kevin Stefanski? So I like continuity, and if they can, I'm with you. I don't think they're going far. And Kyler Murray, it just continues to step up his game, and the more he goes, in December, we'll be talking about him in the MVP race as well.
How do you scheme for Kyler Murray? I mean, it's impossible.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's impossible. All right, last question of the day. Your guarantee of the week. This has become our famous last question each week with Sean Salisbury. Your guarantee of the week in the NFL.
I like the Raiders this week, but my guarantee of the week is Russ Wilson and Seattle going on the road at Minnesota. They're, I think, 1.5 favorites in Minnesota. I don't trust Minnesota to close games. I just don't. They'll put up Xbox and Sony PlayStation numbers, and you'll throw the fucking control against the wall by the time the game's over at the end, whether it's a missed field goal or a missed tackle. And they got dominated in a run game last week, did Seattle. They were embarrassed by Derrick Henry. Now they go on the road, and they are a really good road team. Russ Wilson's not going to lose 2 in a row. And Dalvin Cook's a little banged up. I would look for some turnovers on defense, and I would look for Seattle to make more plays. My guarantee of the week last week was Aaron Rodgers and the Packers after he came off a bad one. Russ Wilson gets even. The defense plays better, and they take on Minnesota and win this one by more than a field goal.
And by the way, what's wrong with your quarterback in Minnesota? Why doesn't he have the ability to win games? He seems like a good quarterback. He was great with the Redskins, but he's never fulfilled his promise since coming to Minnesota.
Puts up numbers, Wayne. He does. There's something missing, and I can't wait to hear what Jim says about that, Everett, too, because some guys just have the ability to close when they're playing a shitty game, and some guys can play great for 3.5 quarters and just can't quite close it out. And while I like Kirk Cousins, and he'll put up numbers, he always does, but he's never going to put a ring on his finger. He just doesn't have, in my opinion, and it's not personal, I don't think he has the closing DNA, and Russ Wilson will prove that again next week, or this weekend, should I say.
Great stuff from Sean, and let me mention at the end of this interview, just if you want to come back to VegasWinners.com and get some fantastic advice, my record in the NFL this season, all documented, by the way, every pick I make is sent to an independent documentation service, and I've started out the year 12-4, 16 NFL picks, 12 winners, about 75% winners to start the season. Last year was the greatest run of my life. It's not like this happens all the time. I won 10 of the last 11 weeks in the NFL. This year I've won the first 2 weeks. So I've won 12 of the last 13 weeks going back to last year of the NFL. It's one hell of a streak, and my picks during that streak, 22-8. 22 winners, 8 losers against the point spread. I've got an NFL Game of the Year right now at Vegas Winners. You register right now. It takes 1 minute. You get $1,000 in free coupons that you can apply to that Game of the Year or anything else you want on the menu at VegasWinners.com. So go check it out. And as always, thank you, Sean, for a great segment, great knowledge, great insights. You the man.
You are the best. And what did Randy Moss say with all those picks you make? Straight cash, homie. Keep making them that money, brother. I'll talk to you next Friday.
Yes, you remember Al Davis said, just win, baby. I've come up with my own. Mine is just beat the spread, baby. We'll see you next week.
All right, bud. Thank you.
I want you to remember you can sign up right now to become a part of the Crush House Gang and unlock all of our winning picks only at vegaswinners.com. I want to remind you to go to vegaswinners.com right after this podcast ends for one of my world famous games of the year. Just register. It's simple, it's easy, it takes 1 minute, and you automatically receive $1,000 in free coupons, which you can apply to my game of the year. And you also get 5,000 reward points, which can be converted into gifts and prizes with our state-of-the-art cryptocurrency reward system, all at vegaswinners.com. What else can you find there? Check out all our entertaining and informative Crush House podcasts. Enter to win fabulous prizes, including trips to Vegas to join me and the Crush House gang to watch a game, break some bread, and experience Sin City like few ever will. And most importantly, it's always about my favorite thing, winning and winning big. And of course, there's the point spread winners. We've got free point spread winners every day, plus best bets from our team of 21 champions, the greatest lineup ever assembled. All you have to do is take 1 minute to register. Just go to vegaswinners.com right now. Follow the prompts to register, and you automatically get the picks, the wisdom, the analysis, and the winning point spread advice, plus rewards for every click. It's all there. A big thank you to Chip, to Sean, and to Ross for dropping in. Now, those are smart guys. Thanks for the point spread wisdom and the insights. If you like what you saw, come back and tune in to Crush House Cappers every week only on the Crush House Network. You got Crush House, you got Crush House Cappers, you got Crush House Legends podcasts. Thanks for stopping in for another episode of Cappers, Crush House Cappers, because winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Until next time, just win the point spread, baby.